Diablo 4 beta has been out long enough that I've been able to complete what it has to offer. It has the full first act available, and I have just completed it. During my time in the Diablo 4 beta, there are some points that really stuck an impression for me that I can already see this game is going to be kind of different than the average Diablo experience. It is slower than your traditional Diablo. It doesn't feel like you're just blowing through all the minions. It feels like it's sort of a slow burn going into it. This guy has 85 billion health. I'm used to more though, where I can just put money in and I beat them. What happened? There's definitely way more of a focus on the story. There's really good cutscenes. I mean, really good cutscenes. Your characters are right in the cutscenes. The voice acting is quite good. All of the acting and really the visuals are impressive during the cutscenes, and it's worth the watch. Maybe you're gonna blast through and skip past them. If so, so be it. But it is actually worth watching all of them. The other part is the scale of the map. The map is actually pretty crazy. It's a fairly large map and it's fairly open world. You can go almost anywhere. In fact, right from the beginning, I didn't even follow the main story. I walked around and did 9 different dungeons throughout the map before I even continued on the main story. Now, I want to talk about dungeons and combat because that's really what I enjoyed about the game the most. The combat in the game feels heavy-hitting is the way I would describe it. When you're actually attacking something, it feels like a thud.
Where should I go here?
The sound effects, the visual effects, and the impact of the abilities feels significant and chunky. I don't know how else to describe it. And that is also where you're going to be getting the color palette from. You see, a common complaint, not really a complaint, but more of a common reference point in this game is people constantly keep saying it's a grayscale, it's monochromatic, it's really kind of darker than the other Diablo, and that's on purpose. But you get these big splashes of color, for instance, with the rogue, with the purple shadow imbue when you're using your abilities, which really makes your combat spells stand out among the other colors. I was also fairly impressed with how difficult some of these bosses can be. There's actually a variety within mobs. It doesn't feel like you're just killing the same mob over and over and over again. I've played several games where the same mob from the very tutorial, New World comes to mind, where like the character that's in the tutorial and the character that's the last boss are the same. This is very different than Diablo 4. There's a good variety of minions. I never really felt like I was fighting the same thing over and over and over again. And even though a lot of MMO elements, like keep out of the big red circle, stay within the shield, things that you recognize, avoid the red cone, these type of elements, they are in the game. The combat feels like it has enough of variety, especially when we start actually looking at each of these different bosses. Even within Act 1, the bosses felt very different. They felt like it was an array of bosses. The mechanics for each of them felt different. And of course, then there's voice acting and cutscenes to go along with each one of these.
Trying to lead me away so you can take all this for yourself.
Speaking of variety, there are a significant variety of builds. I was able to try a bow build. I was able to try a dagger build. There seems like there's a trap build. I can do different imbues. I can do a shadow imbue. I can do poisons. There is a difference between the characters you're playing with. I had a teammate playing with me as a sorceress, and it's very obvious what the sorcerer's doing. It's very obvious what the rogue's doing. Now, I tried more of a single target damage build, then I tried more of an AoE type of build, and the differences between them were significant enough that I knew, no. I like the single target. I like the dagger build. I'm not a bow and arrow guy. But what's cool is, even if you're not necessarily wanting to stick to only daggers or only bow, your weapons change automatically depending upon what move you're using. For instance, I have a barrage skill in my rogue, but I also have a rogue stab and a shadow step ability where I shadow step and teleport basically behind somebody and stab him in the back. But then I also have my bow for when I'm in the longer range. The combat does feel like you're not really doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like there is a variety of positioning and spells, enough that you don't get bored immediately. Something else that's really cool about this game is the way the legendary items actually work. So effectively how it works is you can get a legendary item and you can extract the essence out of that legendary item, and you can basically take that legendary item and forge it as a consumable onto a new item. So as you're going through the game and you get a new upgrade and your old legendary item isn't as good as a new yellow item, you can take that legendary and put it onto the yellow item and upgrade that yellow item to a legendary. Now this uses your consumable if you extract and basically salvage your original legendary item. So you want to be really careful when you're choosing to actually upgrade your legendary items. Now there's also the Codex of Power, which is essentially you go and you unlock different abilities which you can imprint onto your yellow items as well to make them legendary, and those aren't as much consumable as it is you've unlocked this one, now your other items can have it. So the crafting system seems to be a pretty big portion of this game as well. You're obviously going to be doing the standard Diablo thing of going and salvaging materials. And yes, you are going to need the materials from salvaging yellows, blues, all of these different items in order to do things like imprinting legendaries and upgrading your yellow items. Playing with your teammates is actually extremely easy in this game. We weren't even on the same main quest, and I was able to just click on my buddy, invite him to a party, open up a portal for him. He was able to teleport basically right to me, help me within the legendary quest that I'm basically doing, and get drops and get experience. Working with a teammate is super easy in this game, which is going to be critically important because this game has more of an MMO type of feel. In fact, when you're walking around in the field, you're running into other players, which is actually a good thing because you get bonuses from being near other players. There's also events that will happen around the map, so even if you don't want to, like me, I didn't want to focus on the main story immediately. I just ran around the map and kind of explored for a bit, and I ran into all these different events, and there were other players farming the events, etc. So I was able to do those events with random players I otherwise would have never met in the game. Now, there are a few cons to Diablo 4. I won't say it's 100% smooth right now. It's the beta, so there is a queue login at the moment.
Wait, did you quit the game and now you have a 60-minute queue?
60-minute queue! I got 67-minute queue, Veld. Oh wait,
I'm coughing pretty bad.
I can't leave the town. There's a glass wall. Wait,
oh, you're glass walled?
What is going on?
Oh no!
Oh, the game, I got disconnected. And it does seem to have bugs. It does seem to be crashing. There's going to be a lot of complaints over in the comments on Reddit, the live stream. Tons of people were telling me that they kept getting kicked into the back of the queue. There was issues, etc. So that will be happening. It is beta. I'm sure on actual launch, there will probably be some issues as well. But if you can actually get into and play the game right now, it's fairly fun. I'm almost a little bit sad that we're level capped at 25 because I'm basically there already and I've only been playing since the launch of the beta. Something else I really like about this too is the yellow items in this game aren't worthless because you can upgrade them like I was mentioning with the imbue system. And what's interesting about it is some of the yellow items might actually be better than some of your legendary items when you're picking them up. So you don't have to worry about, do I take my legendary essence or do I take the yellow item? Well, you crunch your legendary and put it onto that item, but you have to be really careful because if you're using an aspect as opposed to like a codex power, that is a consumable, which again is part of making decisions when you're going to upgrade your gear. Oh, I got legendary!
Whatever.
Yeah, bro, let's go. First legendary. Okay, man, I am so good at this game, dude. The loot feels like it's about right. I seem to be getting legendaries at a pace that is about right. It's enough that you feel like you're getting the dopamine, but not too much where it feels like legendaries are devalued. Keep in mind, I'm playing on the hardest difficulty available on the beta right now, but there will be Nightmare and above once the game is fully launched. I gotta mention treasure goblins because the treasure goblins were extremely fun to hunt down. They are way faster and harder and tankier in this game. Oh, a goblin!
Oh my gosh, they're fast.
That goblin is actually so fast. What the heck?
Where the heck is he going? The goblins themselves were dropping legendary items for me. In fact, I got 2 legendaries out of a single loot goblin near the beginning of the game.
Oh, it's that mob that everybody was screaming about on Twitter, the spider hose thing.
Oh, I got double legendary drop. He dropped gloves and boots. There's also mounts in this game as you go through and unlock the main story. It looks like mounts are unlocking at level 36 from my understanding, so in the beta we're not going to get our hands on them. But once again, because the map is so large, mounts are going to be critically important. There are waypoints around the map, so you are able to teleport around the map, which is very useful, and your teammates can use your portal. So if you have a waypoint, you can go to a waypoint someone else doesn't have, open up your town portal, then they can use your town portal to go there and instantly claim the waypoint. The shrines feel extremely impactful. When I'm using the shrines, they're way more exciting. The conduit shrine actually turns you into a ball of electricity and gives you a teleport skill. So you can teleport around in order to kill things. Ooh, conduit, first conduit. Oh, look at that, you actually like become lightning. Oh, that is really cool. There's one that gives you a giant AoE that basically one-shots everything around you, and there's one that gives you like a machine gun of arrows that shoots every time you're attacking. The shrines feel way more fun in this game than any of the previous Diablos. Now, I don't want to try to oversell the game or overhype the game or anything like that, because there are going to be bugs related to it right now. If you're watching this video and thinking, oh, I need to buy into the beta right now, just wait for the free one or buy the $4 KFC chicken sandwich if you really want to get into the beta for as cheap as possible. But the game has been fun and enjoyable for me. It definitely is leaning more, it seems like, to the MMO side as compared to just the grind hack and slash side. Obviously, there's both elements of both genres within there, but I can see what they're trying to do by balancing them here. So for me, Act 1 was probably a 7, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I would give it a little bit higher rating if there wasn't so many bugs and issues. Again, it's related to the beta, and I wasn't able to fully experience all of the cutscenes and everything because of the bugs related to the game and crashing and re-going into queue, etc. But what I did see, I liked a lot. I would give it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, but I tend to be fairly realistic with my ratings, so I think a 7 or 7.5 is pretty realistic for where it's at. I think it's worth a try in my own personal opinion. I'm going to keep playing through the betas. My plan is to max out each and every class and then go into hardcore and see what that experience is like. You can catch me live by hitting the bell and being subscribed on this channel. We'll go live on YouTube, as well as twitch.tv/DarthMicrotransaction. You can find me there as well. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking or subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.